Two countries, one goal, protecting our shared planet. But which one actually makes it easier for a traveller to ditch the plastic, choose greener transport, and eat sustainably?
Hi, I'm Justine.
And I'm Darryl.
And we're the Breakaway Bravehearts.
And as we're always constantly on the travel and trying to keep our carbon footprint low, there's a few things we've noticed.
So this video differs a little bit from our normal ones because we're putting England and France to the test. Who comes out tops when it comes to sustainability?
France and England both make big promises when it comes to sustainability policies. But what really matters is what is happening on the ground.
So the first round is one of the biggest challenges for travellers. Once you're in the country, how do you get around with the smallest footprint possible? Which country makes it easier?
Today we're in Nantes, in France.
Nantes really has tried to combine its history with modernity in a sustainable way. There are plenty of options for travellers and locals to partake in sustainable travel within the city, especially on the weekend when public transport is free.
Wow, what an initiative, huh? I mean, what's not to like about free transport? Thank you, France.
Yeah, it's not just Nantes. There's actually a whole bunch of cities in France that are trialling this free fare weekend, and they've seen a huge increase in the number of people taking public transport. Brilliant initiative.
If you'd rather pedal, Nantes has you covered there too.
Dotted all around the city with these convenient wee stations where you can pick up a hire bike. And we loved Nantes' pedestrian-only zones. It looks like it's still going to take a little while to change habits though, as there's still a fair bit of traffic on the streets.
Of course, another welcoming sustainable option is the electric Navibus. And it was just so nice to be able to go from port to port and just come into Nantes in a different way.
And Nantes is, again, not the only city to do this. France has lots of small pedestrian boats that are electric.
And it was part of the Sunday free thing too, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Later on in the video, we're going to show you another boat which is trying to reduce its footprint, and that's the Salamanca. And that's going to take us across the channel, so make sure you keep watching for that one.
Slightly bigger one, that.
Slightly bigger. Meanwhile, back in England, the approach is slightly different.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. As a Brit, we're already paying through the nose on certain things. Although that said, I have to be fair, it looks like the bus fare prices are coming down, but it's the clean air zone thing. I get it. We've all got to get out of our vehicles. However, you've got to get a bus system into place and be able to offer these infrastructures before you start penalising people. I don't know what your thoughts are about it, but I'm a little bit miffed about it. You know, having such charges.
Going into these clean airs.
So as you can tell, he is passionate about that. We'd love to hear your opinion too. Drop us a line in the comments, let us know what you think.
And if you want to cycle, England does have plenty of hire bikes and e-scooters. Which sounds great, until you realise the bike lanes can be questionable at best.
Of course, like Nantes, some English cities are lucky enough not to have to rely on roads for their transport network.
Bristol has either got or is about to get or be the first city to have an electric powered passenger boat.
For those renting a car, both countries have plenty of electric charging stations. France has over 100,000 while the UK has around 50,000.
So who takes the crown for greener transport?
Sorry, England. France gets this one on you, and it's because of that free transport and those electric boats. So that's 1 point up for France.
But there's still a lot more to go. The next category? Eating greener.
So we're new to thinking about meals as a sustainability issue.
We've always thought about how much packaging in our foods, but now we're also starting to think about how much food waste we create, where is our food coming from, and even how much meat we eat.
So who makes it easier, France or England?
Let's start in France, in the lovely little town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. The French have always had a deep connection to food, and there are more than 45,000 farmers' markets across France.
I mean, my God, French markets. Oh my God, I could be here for years.
This market has an incredibly long history, dating back to the Middle Ages.
This is where you're going to find fresh local produce, as well as some imports.
I noticed the cucumbers are only wrapped cucumbers, so...
Yeah, some of them are imports. We don't want those. So it pays to know what's in season, so you know which ones you're getting at 0 kilometres.
Avez-vous the produit local?
Even in the supermarket, the focus on local food is hard to miss. There is a display to show you the farmers and artisans behind the products, and there is a huge range of products, all proudly marked as local.
But one thing we were disappointed with was the number of vegan options in France. We actually found it quite limited. There just wasn't a range in the cafes, in the restaurants, or in the supermarkets, at least in the south of France where we were.
Yeah, in contrast, England actually blew me away on this one. I was really surprised since I've been away from England for just a tiny while, only to find that basically wherever you go now, vegan is not just an option, it is there as part of the decision.
Supermarkets are also doing their part when it comes to helping shoppers make eco-friendly choices. Major stores have started using sustainability labels so you know what you're buying.
So who wins this round?
Well, you'll be pleased to know, actually, England gets the title for Eco-Champion this time, and it's mainly because of that plant-based food culture. I hadn't realised just how significant this is. Your menu choices make a huge impact. I'm going to pop the stats up on screen because it blew me away. So far, it's a tie. But of course, there's still more to go. The next round, the classic, reduce, reuse, recycle.
So something we noticed in France is just how easy it was to recycle things. I mean, I just loved the way they kept it so simple.
That's what I like about this one, is it's like it's all there listed, and it's like everything that we can goes into.
It was very clear to me what I had to do to recycle. Folks, we're heading up to Wales. Apparently they've got 6 different boxes they have to do.
6. What was it in Germany?
Oh no, Germany was okay with 3.
Okay. Yeah, Japan you had 6. What I loved was the composting. We were in a small little town and everybody seemed to take part in this composting project. There was composting bins right there out there on the street, and you just put in your food waste and then the community could gather their garden compost from there. It wasn't about putting everything in an organics only bin and then that being carted away by the council. It was a community project. I really loved that. France is serious about reducing too, as we found out when we went to the markets.
You will need to bring your reusable bag. There's not a plastic bag in sight, and they will charge you just slightly extra for a paper one. Awesome stuff.
So I checked the stats just to see if this easy to do approach actually does translate into actual recycling. And it turns out that France now has a recycle rate of 47%. And in the last 20 years, they have halved the amount of waste that goes into landfill. So that's awesome. So what about across the channel? You're a Brit. Give us your opinion of the recycling options in England.
It's so disappointing actually, having experienced France, to now experience how the UK are going about their confusing system. There's some extra effort that has to be put in if you want to completely be a good citizen to the world, because you've got to go to a supermarket for a lid. It is bizarre.
England has made a lot of strides in its recycling rate, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
This one doesn't actually have anything. The lid has to come off. That goes into general waste. Rinse pot, recycle, film, don't recycle. In Germany, they suggest you don't rinse pots because it saves water. And recycle with bags at large supermarket. So this actually cannot be physically recycled here in our regular pickup. It's really quite disappointing.
I am so flummoxed by this. It's so entertaining in some ways, having seen how simple things were in France.
England has a different approach when it comes to supermarket bags too, right?
They're still offering these plastic bags. Okay, they're recyclable plastic bags and they do come at a charge. is that really an effective way of making a community go bagless?
Yeah, I think we prefer the outright ban as they have in France, because it really has just created an entire culture shift. You just don't expect your supermarket to supply you with a bag.
Access to public drinking water is another area where England and France differ greatly. We found fresh drinkable water almost everywhere we went in France, making it super easy to refill our travel bottle.
In the UK, not so much. We have struggled to find places to refill our bottle. Now, there is something here that I do like though. It's actually a legal requirement in restaurants and cafes for them to provide free tap water for you. But we really would like to see more public water fountains for refillable bottles. So the winner for this round?
France. Gotta be for that easy recycling.
Although when you look at the stats, England is getting better faster. So they might end up taking the lead pretty soon.
Come on, England. Come on, England.
There's still one more round. But before we get there, we're going to check out one of France's really interesting new eco initiatives, a greener boat to get you from France to England.
Do you think I should throw a line to our audience?
Actually, it's our audience that could throw us a line. We need your help.
Now, we are aiming to reach those 1,000 subscribers so that we can get monetized, so we can do more of this and give you more and more information. So please hit that subscribe button. We look forward to seeing you.
Okay, we better let him finish his dad joke.
Do you think I should throw a line to our audience and let them know where we are now? We're at the Salamanca.
How long did you wait for that one?
Quite a while.
So today we're heading back to the UK, heading across the water from France, and we're on board the Salamanca.
This is meant to be the boat that is leading the way for sustainability for the Brittany ferries.
So we're going to check out those claims today and show you all around the ship.
So the ferry's LNG system has 20% less carbon emissions. It's cleaner burning, so it has better air quality emissions and almost no sulfur particles from the funnel.
Also, the ship is designed to be fuel agnostic, meaning it's completely adaptable. And as technology evolves and better sustainable options come on board, the ship can move with that and adapt. In fact, in 2024, they collaborated with Spanish firm Repsol to try out biofuel. That's right, they were actually using fuel made from agricultural byproducts, leftover food waste, and even sewage.
So the cabins on board are quite lovely, very comfortable, and all the facilities you might need.
The soaps provided in the bathroom are local to their ports and in biodegradable packaging. Inside the cabin we have LED lighting and an energy efficient heating and ventilation system.
From a sustainability point of view, it was a little bit disappointing to find plastic water bottles and plastic wrapped snacks and more plastic packaging here that perhaps could be avoided with a little more thought.
Given that Brittany Ferries is involved in marine conservation, the use of single-use plastic poses a bit of a contradiction. 80% of marine pollution is made up of this stuff.
Since 2006, Brittany Ferries has been working with Orca. This foundation actually has onboard scientists who monitor and track whale and dolphin activity.
So good intentions, but the practical reality still doesn't quite hold up. Here's the thing, this souvenir tag says it meets both CE and UKCA standards, but, and here's the catch in the small print,
Made in China.
Basically you're buying a green ferry souvenir that's already been on a long haul flight. And just check out all this packaging. Hopefully there is somewhere around here to recycle all of this.
Okay, I found the recycling station. No place for organics, but everything else is sortable.
But sadly, on a ship built to carry 1,000 passengers, this was the only recycling station.
One major disappointment was not being able to find a refill station for our water bottle. I even asked at the information desk, and their suggestion was to go and ask at the bar for them to fill my bottle. So I'm guessing there is no refill station on the boat. So that's a real shame, and I'm guessing that they make a good profit out of the sale of single-use plastic bottled water.
So while the Salamanca is an inspiring effort towards sustainable sea travel, there's still work to be done on board. But it's hard to deny it still beats air travel in terms of environmental impact.
Bye-bye, France. We'll be back soon.
But it's still not as good as the train. The Eurostar is approximately 5 times more efficient in terms of CO2 emissions per passenger than the Salamanca ferry.
Choosing how we travel is a crucial part of reducing our carbon footprint. But the real magic happens when we stop to enjoy the land.
Now we're back on land, let's check out biodiversity and green open spaces.
Yeah, we were really blown away with what we saw in the small towns in France. So for example, in Salles-sur-le-Creuse, I know I pronounced that wrong, say it properly for me.
Salles-sur-le.
That place, there was this enormous rewilding project that the whole community seemed to be involved in. We saw birdhouses in the trees with little signs underneath explaining them. We saw open rewilding spaces, plants being deliberately grown in the sidewalks just to bring that greenness back. And everywhere there was public signs explaining what was going on. Awesome stuff.
And the bigger cities are doing their bit too. Botanical Garden in Nantes is a perfect example of how public green spaces can enhance both urban life and biodiversity.
This 7-hectare urban green space is just a beautiful area. It's free entry and public can come and enjoy nature and art. It's an incredibly biodiverse area, which is obviously being lovingly cared for.
To be fair, we did see similar stuff in St. Leonards-on-Sea.
That's right. They are deliberately starting to re-wild or grow plants in some of their urban spaces. And this helps a lot because it not only freshens up the air, it brings back bees and other pollinators, really important for biodiversity.
And a short walk down the road is Filsham Reed Bed, which is a haven for both wildlife and people.
Bit of a maze here. Areas like Filsham wetlands are really important because they protect biodiversity and they help support endangered species. Wildlife Trust cuts the reeds to different lengths and this makes a bit of a patchwork and that encourages greater diversity of species. But I don't see anybody here today to greet us. They're all camera shy. Wetlands also help regulate water levels. They offer flood protection because they absorb all the excess water. And they improve water quality by filtering pollutants and storing carbon, so they're really reducing the effects of climate change. And of course, these spaces just improve mental health. The public can wander through here freely and just enjoy nature at its best. And alongside that, it's providing education and a place where we can do some more research.
So there's really not a lot in it for this round.
Yep, I think we can call it a tie.
With one more round to go.
That's right, and it's a big one. Energy. How do they make it? How do they use it? And how do they save it?
In France, wind power is a growing part of the energy mix. In rural areas, wind turbines are now a common sight.
But when it comes to solar, things are moving more slowly. In Salles-sur-le, we visited a brand new residential subdivision, and while the homes are modern, there's something missing.
Yeah, I was surprised by this. It's kind of like a missed opportunity, right?
Especially when we've seen a big emphasis on sustainably retrofitting older buildings.
Yeah, we saw that in Nantes with the Fisherman's Village.
So this is another example of really great repurposing of historical buildings. Most of the village's cottages have been rebuilt using energy efficient and eco-friendly materials and insulation.
So as a traveller, we know you're going to be looking for energy efficient homestays, Airbnbs and hotels.
But it's not all about that. It's also about how the energy is made in the first place.
This is where France and England take very different approaches. France generates around 70% of its electricity from nuclear power.
This is a really tricky point for me. I grew up in New Zealand in the nuclear-free 80s. We pretty much had stickers on all our windows and school bags, nuclear-free everywhere. It's in my blood to be anti-nuclear power. But just recently I've been reading that it is a much cleaner source of energy. There's pretty much no CO2 emission.
And of course, the UK has, I think, 15% nuclear power energy, but it looks like they're moving forward with wind power. And kudos to the UK for reducing the use of nuclear power, although this does pose a conflicting question of the CO2. So we are a little bit conflicted on this, aren't we?
We are, and we'd love some advice or thoughts and other opinions so that we can kind of get our heads straight. We've also been disappointed by the number of solar panels that we've seen on English homes. There's just not as many as we would have hoped. And so for travellers, you can't avoid using energy. You're going to have to charge your phone, you're going to have to take a hot shower every now and again. And it seems like you're going to have a lesser environmental impact in France than you are in England. And when it comes to home energy efficiency, England faces a major challenge. A large proportion of homes were built before energy standards. Retrofitting efforts are underway, but progress is slow.
Yeah. Energy efficiency generally in a house in England, there's not great. Have you ever been in a house in England?
We have to wear our scarves inside.
And with that, our England vs France sustainability showdown is almost complete. Are you ready for the final verdict? Drum roll, please.
So which country takes the title in terms of energy efficiency?
We give that one to France for its investment in wind power and its historical retrofitting.
England is catching up and does have a great investment in offshore wind power. So perhaps they'll get there soon, as long as they focus on making sure their homes are using their energy efficiently.
But hey, this is just our opinion based on our experiences so far. Let's make this a more robust conversation.
Yep, we do love the conversation, so keep those comments coming.
So where are we off to next?
We're on the other side of the channel now, so we're on our way through to England, taking slow travel up to Wales.
Until then, happy travels everyone.